That wasn't going to. You got everybody here tonight?
Hey, how are you?
Okay, by the way.
What do you bring this hard for?
Huh?
What do you bring this hard for?
Well, just stuff happens at the end when you're trying to get someplace.
Yep.
That.
There's usually stairs between me and there.
Yeah, it's something. And oh man.
When is it?
It's the, let me look at my
Oh,
phone
yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
tell you.
Andy's here.
It must be the 14th.
You'll be
because
surprised.
it's on the
Everybody's
Thursday.
getting real easy.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Where you
But it's not just here.
been? Where you been?
They know what we're doing.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. We proceed each council meeting with a word of prayer and pledge of allegiance. If you'd like, please feel free to join us. You would bow with me. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Your grace, your goodness, your mercy, your awesome power. Thank you for decisions that are made tonight.
Man.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anybody have a pen at the bar?
Now call this meeting to order. Mr. Garrett, would you call the roll, please, sir?
Mr. Hawkins?
Here.
Mr. Grimes?
Here.
Mr. Cummins?
Here.
Ms. Mel?
Here.
Ms. Webb?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Isby?
Here.
Okay, you should have received a copy of the minutes from our February 13th, 2024 meeting. Any corrections, changes, or comments?
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Next up, we have our financial report. Mr. Winningham, good news you sent us the other day. Keep it up.
It's either good news or no news with me, sir. Tonight we're looking at January, first month of 2024. January was a good month, but it was also an expensive month. We have our municipal league dues are due at the first of the year each year, along with our finance and HR software maintenance was paid this month as well. We're going to reimburse ourselves for that software out of our rescue plan allocation. So that'll look a little bit better next month. We did that reimbursement in February. But our sales tax was up 18% over same month last year, so that was great. If you'll recall, we budgeted a 3% increase, so
You keep that coming, Mr. Winning.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Our franchise fees, you'll see that number is very small. The money we received in January was actually for December, so it was recorded back in December. And then you'll start to see those numbers pick up in February and going forward. And then you'll notice on the balance sheet at the end of the year last year, our reserve account is now back up to the $2 million balance. The amount over $2 million is just some interest there that we've yet to transfer over to the non-uniform pension fund, but the meat and potatoes of the balance, the $2 million is there, and we've now fully paid it back for the money we took out of it 4 years ago. And the only other comment I've got was on the street fund. You'll notice in the revenue section, the state tax turnback other was a really low number, and I'm not sure what was going on there. I sent an email to the treasurer's office to see if they could give us an explanation on why that is, because I looked back in January of prior years and it's never been that low. So I don't know if it's a correction, adjustment, or a mistake, but once I find out, I'll let everybody know. And then I was also going to point out our cash balance in street fund. It's building back up nicely. If you'll recall, we took a big chunk out of it to buy the Conway Court property back in 2022, and we were up to about 7.8 million before that purchase, and now we're back up close to 5. So, and our goal is not to save up money in the street fund. We want to use it to better the streets, and so we're doing that as well. I know we've got some overlays in 2023 that are going to be finished up the first part of this year, which will be a pretty significant expenditure. So overall, I think we're in really good shape, and be happy to go over anything further, answer questions if you guys have any.
Good
Oh.
job.
Last page, sorry.
Oh.
I added the balance in our American Rescue Plan Act account. I thought you guys might be interested in that. This year, 2024, we have until the end of this year to obligate all those funds. And obligate means to place an order or enter into a contract. So you guys will be able to see that going forward. We have until 2026 to spend it. So if we get to the end of this year and we still have funds available, that's completely okay. But I thought council might be interested to see.
So do we
because
need to
it's-
find a $5 million project? Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. No, sir.
Checking.
We got some drainage work coming up. We're gonna spend a pretty good chunk of that on.
Yeah, you guys passed a resolution last year or year before that allocated all the money for those projects.
Checking to see if you remember that.
I did. I did.
Any more questions, Mr. Winningham? All right, thank you, Mr. Winningham.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have community development. Mr. Hawkins, I'll turn this over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item is consideration to approve waiving all three readings for the ordinances on tonight's agenda. And I would take a motion to waive those readings.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to waive all three readings in the ordinances this night's meeting. Any discussion or comments? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is a resolution setting a public hearing to discuss closing of a portion of a utility easement at 192 Commerce Road in the Rock 10 subdivision in the city of Conway. And talk about that, Mr. Mayor.
We have Ms. Tucker here, and Bobby. Is Bobby here?
Bobby is.
Okay. Come on up, Bobby, if you got time.
No, go right ahead.
Yeah, I guess the applicant is trying to add on to that building. I think Conway Manufacturing is trying to add on that building. And in the process, they realized that the last add-on they did, that I guess it got into an easement. And when they add on what they're wanting to do this time, the easement is in the way. There's nothing in the easement. And I think Conway Corp had a easement on the other side of the lot line. Plus, everybody felt like they had plenty of room, didn't need that extra easement. So I think we're getting away with maybe 6 feet of that easement, I believe, what it was. I had to look. But, and everybody, we've got our letters from all the utilities, nobody had a problem with it. So we're just asking that we can remove that where they can do a little add-on to their building.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
And tonight's just a resolution to set it for a hearing
Okay.
at the next meeting.
Okay.
I make a motion for the approval of the resolution R-2412 to set a public hearing on March the 12th at 6:00 p.m. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this resolution, setting a public hearing for March the 12th at 6 p.m. for closing of utility easement for properties for Davis Properties Limited Liability Corporation. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Final item here, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance to rezone property located at 1803, 1809, 1811 Meadow Lake Road. Present zoning is R1. The requested zoning is R2. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission at their meeting on the 20th of February of this year. And at that time, the commission voted 10-0 that this request be forwarded to City Council with a recommendation of approval. And we have an ordinance to read for this item. It's ordinance 02413 on the ordinance, Mr. Garrett.
2413.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone would like to speak for this? I think Mr. Sanders is here tonight. To speak for that, if you would, state your name and address for the record. If anyone would like to speak after Mr. Sanders for, or if anyone would like to speak against this, please State your name and address. Mr.
Thank you,
Sanders.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members of the council. My name is Preston Sanders. I'm at 306 Salem Road, Suite 106 in Conway, zip code 72034. I am here on behalf of the applicant tonight. I think we've had a good meeting with the commission on this, and I don't think we'll have any conflicts from the rezone from R1 to R2. I think there's a lot of good space to work with here, roughly 7.5 acres. I think the applicant is looking to preserve the existing structures there as much as possible and make good use of the space for where it's at. I'd be glad to answer any questions or hear any concerns that you might have.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the property that the open area that runs kind of behind the Faulkner County Library along that area.
Kind of, sort of. So you've got the North Market Plaza in between Donaghy Road and West Road to the north, and then to the south of Meadow Lake and North Market Plaza. That's where the property
Okay.
sits.
No,
Yes, sir.
that's, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Well, I think we're going to see more potential development along Meadow Lake. So I had mentioned to the mayor that we need to look at upgrading Meadow Lake. We'll wait till the construction's done, but
Yeah.
because it's open ditch on both sides, there's no sidewalks, it's very narrow, and a lot of people are using that to cut through more and more. So
Yeah, I'll get with Jacob and Kurt.
I did notice that, Ms. Mel, the street over there is not in good condition at all.
Yeah, from the intersection there of Donaghy.
Yeah.
East,
Donaghy
that's
going
going east, yeah.
to Washington.
yeah, it's just that little from Washington to Nahunky.
And it's always been narrow and
Mhm.
kind of.
But R2 is perfectly appropriate
Mhm.
for the surrounding area and given what's across the street in the PUD.
Understood. Thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Sanders? Thank you, sir.
you all.
Would anyone else like to speak for or against? Okay, council, we'll bring it back to you.
Make a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance to rezone property located at 1803, 1809, and 1811 Meadow Lake Road from R1 to R2. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Mr. Cummins?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Aye.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Passes 7-0. Council, if you would, let's go back to the monthly financial. I did not get a vote on that. For y'all to approve those.
Make a motion for approval of the financials for January.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve our monthly financials. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
That passes 7-0. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we have Public Service Committee, and we have an ordinance authorizing a personnel reclassification for the Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Thames, how are you, sir?
Good evening, council. So this is just an ordinance to reclassify an already existing position to the soccer complex operations manager. And this reclassification will not affect or cause any budget adjustment for the year.
Well, it looks like we're going to be kicking the ball around out there this.
It does, just a couple of months. This is the weather to do it too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
It is.
Make a motion for the adoption of the ordinance 02414.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance for the reclassification of the Parks and Recreation Department. Any further discussion? You are planning a big grand opening out there, right?
Oh, I hope so.
All right.
Yes,
Mr. Garrett.
sir.
Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Mr. Cummins?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Aye.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
That passes 7-0. Next up, we have our Public Safety Committee. We have Chief Harris here. It's ordinance appropriating funds for the Conway Police Department.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We just have two reimbursement funds, one for our extra duty services, the other for our bulletproof vest grant. And we just request that these funds be reallocated back into their respective accounts.
Make a motion for adoption of the ordinance.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Ordinance 02415. Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Aye.
Mr. Cummins?
7.
Quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
It's nothing big, just concern. Are all the best up to date that we got, the guys got now?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next, we have an ordinance appropriating funds for software with the Conway Animal Welfare Unit. Chief Harris.
I'm gonna let the director come up and talk about
All
that.
right.
He would have to come up and talk anyway. So.
There you go. Thank you, Chief.
Hi, good evening. Conway Animal Welfare is looking to move funds from our donations account in the amount of $1,500 to acquire new shelter management software. This software will actually save us money as far as what we would normally be spending every year on keeping up with that current software. And it will also make it much more accessible in the field for our officers.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this ordinance. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Ordinance 02416. Ms. Mel,
Aye.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Webb,
Aye.
Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Mr. Grimes,
Aye.
Mr. Cummins,
Yes.
Ms. Isby.
Yes.
That passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we have Sean Kennedy to talk about an ordinance appropriating funds for portable radios for the Department of Information and Technology.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
So this is going to be radios for the department, but they're going to be cash radios for emergency situations, specifically in this case to have better communication during the eclipse. But they can be used obviously much longer than that, and for other events that are planned or unplanned. And it was not a budgeted item, so that's why I'm here tonight.
How many radios total? 10?
10.
And council, we've been working with the group close to a year now, preparing for the eclipse. We'll have some really good information coming out to the public. I think March 5th. Does that sound right? I can't remember. Here in the very near future, though, we've got plans to actually go live the day of the eclipse on our TV channel and give everyone updates on traffic and what's going on. And of course, it's Arkansas, so it could be thunderstorming. So, but this is right now we are planning for a large crowd. It's one of those things that you plan for it, and you either hit it right or it underwhelms you. But the plan is to keep emergency traffic moving so that not only can police, fire, and everyone else make their calls, but if someone needs to take someone to the hospital, they will have a clear route. So we are going to ask all of our departments to bring everyone on duty that day and just keep everything moving as best we can. But I appreciate all the work they've been doing. But we will bring the entire public in Conway up to speed here in the next 2 weeks on how this is going to work out in Conway. And if it goes bad, it's Chief Harris's fault. Usually I throw Mike Winter on the bus, but I thought I'd go with you, Chief. Anyway, council, back to you.
Make a motion for the adoption of the ordinance 02417 along with the emergency clause. Second.
Have a motion, a second to adopt this ordinance to purchase portable radios with the emergency clause. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Cummins,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Ms. Isby,
Yes.
Ms. Mel,
Aye.
Mr. Grimes,
Aye.
Ms. Webb,
Aye.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
the emergency clause, Mr. Cummins, Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Ms. Isby,
Yes.
Ms. Mel,
Aye.
Mr. Grimes,
Aye.
Ms. Webb,
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Those both passed 7-0.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, council. That's all we have tonight. If you would notice, we got some carpet down. I think they're going to, Felicia, do we have, I know you hate me asking for dates. How close are we? Really? Shawana, how close are we?
You notice the person that's in charge wasn't here tonight. They didn't want to have to reply.
In the lights and everything back up. Okay, good deal, good deal. All right. Council, with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.